Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, so today I'm going to want to need a whole bunch of hey neck in the comment section, because Lugia GX has been revealed, and Mr. Nicholas Pierce, Mr. Haynick himself, Lugia is his favourite Pokemon, so if we could have some Haynick in the comment section, that would make both me, and I suggest he, somewhat happy. Now, obviously, Lugia is a colourless Pokemon, and obviously Lugia is going to be coming in our Sun and Moon 8 set, which is Lost Thunder, which is coming out in November, first Friday in November. So, colourless Pokemon means it doesn't get any tricks, unfortunately, but it does mean that double colourless energy is very much on the table. 190 HP is up there with stuff like Buzzwole and Lapras, which is nice. It's pretty much as high as we get for basic GXs. Resistance to fighting is amazing because Buzzwole is still everywhere. Having a resistance to Buzzwole is awesome. It means that a Buzzwole cannot just, with a choice band, get a KO with Knuckle Impact, although a Diancie Prism Star would then pop it over the edge. As for the retreat cost of 2, little bit awkward because we can't get free retreat with a skateboard. And as for the weakness to lightning, it's pretty nice. Yes, Zero Aura looks pretty good. And with Zero Aura coming in the same set, it is very likely that lightning will see an increase in play. But we don't know it's going to be amazing yet, so it's not a bad weakness as it stands. But as always, what do the attacks do? Well, it's the lovely Antoine Boulay, who has sent me a translation of this particular Lugia today, although the lovely David Hochmann has also got it up, and they agree on their translations, which I think is a very good thing. It's a good sign when David and Antoine both agree. First attack, free colourless energy, 30 damage, plus 30 more for each energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. This is one of those that could be a really good or really bad attack. Clearly, we would prefer it if this attack was for just a double colourless energy. That would be wonderful, but it's not, so there's no point crying over it. There's plenty of ways to accelerate that extra energy, whether you use Malamar, whether you use a counter gain, which will reduce it down to a double colourless energy if you're behind on prizes, or whether you use any of the myriad other energy acceleration tricks. Maybe Macargo GX. Discard the top card of your deck. If it's a basic energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon in play. There's many different ways we can get the third energy, so it's not the end of the world. Does it do enough damage? I think it depends what you're looking at. Against something like a Zoroark GX, for instance, it's fine, but somewhat uninspiring. You're doing generally 90 damage, 120 with a choice band. It's not exactly everything we dreamed of and a little bit more. And if you don't have the choice band on there, you're not getting a 2-hit KO. It's not terribly ideal. Similarly, if you're against, say, a free energy Buzzwole, brilliant, you're up to 120, but 120 is not really enough. You'd need a choice band and then 40 extra damage. You're not hitting those numbers well enough. That is to say, this first attack isn't really a big one-hit KO attack. Now, sure, there's going to be turns where your opponent brings out a Gardevoir with 7 energy, and you're like, yeah, one-hit KO. But that's going to be few and far between. I suppose it can work as a check against those decks. If you're playing against a Sylveon GX deck, and they're just building up a Gardevoir on the bench, Lugia can take it out if it comes active with too many energy. Same deal if your opponent tries something like this with Tapu Lele, for instance. But generally speaking, this is a 2-hit KO attack for free energy, which means you can't even use something like Max Potion in between hits. It means if you use something like an Ace Roller, you've got to get that second energy attachment onto there. It's fine as an attack, but it's fairly uninspiring when you're 2-hit KOing. You either want to be able to heal in between, or you want to be able to do a little bit of disruption. This offers neither of those. I mean, it's very, very similar to Espeon GX's GX attack. The difference is that Espeon GX is able to have Psybeam to do a bit of confusion, beforehand for a single energy and can get going on one turn with the energy evolution Eevee. That's the big difference. Plus Espeon's actually 60 plus 30, not 30 plus 30, so it does more energy as well. My point is, fine first attack, nothing to get terribly excited about. But the second attack, that is much, much better. 4 colorless energy, 170 damage. This Pokemon cannot use this attack during your next turn. Fine, but we've seen this many, many times and it's been good. And that's as 160. Lapras has this attack, 160, cannot attack next turn. For 3 energy, not 4, but Lugia uses colorless, meaning you can double colorless. So actually, this can be 2 attachments, whereas Lapras is 3. We see this on Buzzwole, 160, cannot attack next turn. We see it on Volcanion, 130, and cannot attack next turn. Though Volcanion had Steam Up, which did complicate things a little bit. But the big thing about this is it hits 170, which means automatic KO on a Tapu Lele. It means you can use a Professor Kukui to get a one-hit KO on a Buzzwole rather than having to use a Choice Band, though Choice Band will do it. And it means if you do add a Choice Band, you're up to 200, which means now you can be getting up to stuff like the aforementioned Sylveon, like Lycanroc GX, that generally would be out of range of 160 with a Choice Band. 170 with a Choice Band would do it. And you might be thinking, well, Zoroark GX is still out of range with 210, but and I'm afraid you're going to hear me say this a lot over the next couple years because it's going to be relevant, as I've said a lot, Shrine of Punishments can do that extra 10 damage. Now, sure, it does 10 damage to all the X's and GX's between turns, meaning you will have to take that damage onto Lugia as well. But if you're getting a one-hit KO and they're not getting a one-hit KO, that's fine by me, ladies and gentlemen. I am absolutely in line with this. Also, I should mention the name. Antoine has translated it roughly as Sea Guardian Fang, which is a weird kind of name. The first attack is Psychic, it's the same as Espeon essentially, hence it has the same name. This second attack is expensive, but it's really, really good. I mean, as for not attacking next turn, Buzzwole couldn't, Lapras couldn't, Volcanion couldn't, didn't stop any of them, won't stop this, don't worry about it. We got plenty of stuff like Guzma around, which will help us out. But you're hitting the numbers. Now, it's expensive. You could use 2 double colorless energy, but here's the thing. Any energy acceleration deck can use this. Something like a Lightning deck playing Magnezone can use this, and oh look, you don't have a weakness to fighting like all of your other Pokemon do that are Lightning type. Or something like a Malamar could use this, and you don't have that weakness to Psychic. My point here very simply is, there's a million different ways to accelerate energy, but generally speaking you're accelerating to the same type of Pokemon, ergo you've got the same weakness. In the same way that Ho-Oh was a really nice alternative to Turtonator, because they've both got different weaknesses, this can give you a different weakness. Put it in a Malamar deck and then you've got a Lightning weakness, which the rest of your Pokemon don't. Put it in a Magnezone deck and it's got a resistance to fighting, rather than a weakness to fighting. You can put this into any of those decks, and you can hit big numbers, and you've got a different kind of weakness. Maybe you put it into a Solgaleo deck, so you can get big one-hit KOs without being weak to fire. I could keep going, but you get the point here. In and of itself, this attack is just a little bit too expensive. But in any deck that accelerates energy, you've now got a resistant to fighting, Lightning weak Pokemon, which can one-hit KO the vast majority of relevant Pokemon. Sure, it'll struggle to get stuff like Gardevoir with a second attack, but maybe you'll get lucky with the first. As for the GX attack here, 3 colorless energy, put the defending Pokemon and all cards attached to it into the Lost Zone. It's called Lost Purge GX. It is a little bit blurry, but both David and Antoine got the same translation here, so I think it's fair to say if they've both got it from a blurry translation the same, it is probably that. There's an outside chance it's just putting all cards attached to that Pokemon into Lost Zone, but that seems just a little bit weak if you ask me. I like this. Now, we've all seen how nice Tapu Fini's GX attack is. Now, admittedly, that is for 1 energy rather than 3, but Tapu Fini just shuffles the defending Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your opponent's deck. This puts it into the Lost Zone. Now, you should be familiar with a Lost Zone because of these Prism Star cards like Diancie. You cannot recover from the Lost Zone. Once that Pokemon goes to Lost Zone, there's no rescue stretcher. When the energy goes to the Lost Zone, there's no energy recycle system. It's gone. So let's say your opponent uses a Kiawe onto a Ho-Oh turn 1. Not only can you essentially waste their Kiawe, but you get rid of the Ho-Oh to the Lost Zone, and you get all 4 energy into the Lost Zone, and they've wasted their supporter for the turn. Like Tapu Fini, this isn't going to be a GX attack where you go into the game thinking, right, just waiting for that one chance to use it. But this is going to be a GX attack that wrecks your opponent's game. You might find a situation where they've only got 1 good attacker left, and you can send it to the Lost Zone and essentially win the game there and then, because then you just poke at them with a first attack till you win the game. Or you might find that you can get rid of their only Vikavolt, and they can't get another stage 2, so they're out. Sometimes you'll be able to catch them and look and go, hang on a second, they've got all 4 rare candy and their only Charger Bug in the discard. So if I Lost Zone their Vikavolt, that's it, it's over, and then you roll. Maybe it won't work, but there are going to be games that it will. There's going to be games where this GX attack is pointless, but there's going to be games where it will literally win you the game, either by getting rid of their only attacker, giving you a few turns to get into a lead from which they cannot recover, or by getting rid of their only viable attacker, so you win because they're out of attackers. Lugia doesn't hit anything for weakness, and because of that, the first attack is underwhelming. The second attack is expensive, but one-hit KOs most of the relevant Pokemon in the format, and the GX attack, oh my goodness, some games it will suck, and some games that one attack will win you the game. I'm giving Lugia 4 Wassies. I don't think it's the kind of card which can fit into every deck. I really do think it needs energy acceleration. But there's many different decks that have good energy acceleration, and the majority of them should be taking a good, hard, long look at Lugia and going, hang on a second, that could be fun. But I want to know what you think about this Lugia, so let me know in the comment section, and of course, let's get some Hey Next going on down there as well. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.